Hello, everybody. You already know what time it is. It is time for another edition of Breaking Down the Breakdown with me, Steven Diego. And we have a super duper duper uber special guest because this one is my son. People are probably going to be like, wow, is that really your son? No, this person's a lot more attractive than I am.
I am.
More for.
I get my looks from my mom.
Yes, exactly it. That is exactly it. I'd like to introduce you guys to Madz. Madz! Woo!
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I definitely didn't just wake up. Anyone who says otherwise is lying.
That's true. Don't worry. You know what? Let's just pray that people only listen to this. Okay.
Yes.
I'm kidding. You look fantastic.
On Spotify and on SoundCloud.
There you go. You see? Now, Madz, I would like to introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you? Tell us.
It's gonna be a bit philosophical. Who are we? What are we really? Are we really? Well, I'm Mahdi, also known as Madz because people cannot pronounce my name, but it's okay if you can't. I'm only judging you slightly. I'm 18 years old. You love me. I live in the UK. I'm a human resource management student and I'm gay.
I love it.
Short and simple.
Very much so. You know what? That is the best intro anyone's ever had on this show. I think it was so concise and precise. All the way down to the I gay. Now, I invited Madz here because Madz and I share a lot of things in common. And it's actually really eerie how similar we are. But there is one topic in which I feel like him and I could really learn from each other. And that is, Madz and I are both the eldest in our families. Now, my family tree is way complicated, so technically I'm not, but technically I also am. So that's kind of weird. So I like to see people talk about this because I've actually never seen or listened to a podcast episode in which people go deep into talking about how it's like to be an older sibling. It's always comical almost whenever they have episodes about this, where they make it, very lighthearted, very like, I hate my siblings, but we never really get to the implications that it brings us as the eldest in the family. And I felt like Madz would be perfect to talk about this because having spoken to him several times about his upbringing and his families, he had a lot of great things to say. So we're just gonna get right to it. we're gonna cut the bullshit. We're gonna get right to it. Now, Madz, do you like being an older sibling?
Yes and no.
Elaborate on each.
So, I'll start with no. I'll be honest. Annoying as fuck being the older sibling because everything that my siblings go through is a fraction of what I had to go through. So, the expectations and pressures they had,
right?
In the kind of, as much as I love them, as a fraction, it's minuscule compared to what I go through.
Right.
So my second brother, he's currently not doing that well in school. Love him to bits, but not much up there. Good for him. If it was me, my mum and dad, what they would make me do as a child if that happened to me, my dad especially would make me sit down, get a book out, and would not let me leave there until I copied that book down word for word.
The entire book? What the fuck?
This started from 7, by the way. My the second brother is 13. He gets bad grades. What he gets is my mum telling me what an idiot and then moving on. And I'm just there like, why could that be me?
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it's a lot of added pressure being the oldest because you can always feel everyone's eyes on you.
Right.
It's always an expectation for you to not only be the best, but set the example. So, if you mess up, or if your siblings mess up, it's somehow also your problem as well. Even if you had nothing to do with the situation at all, you are now involved. Too many times that's happened to me. Very annoying. But, honestly, I really do enjoy being the older sibling because, personally, I think I got lucky with my siblings. They're really good boys. I love them all. I've got 3 younger brothers. One is 15, turning 16 in October. Don't like thinking about it because he's getting way too old. Another one's 13. And then there's my baby. whose literal nickname is Baby. Like he answers,
Oh,
like when I call him, I don't call him by his name. I'm like, Baby, come here. And bear in mind, he's 8 years old.
Hugo. Oh my
He's not like
god.
3 or 4. He's still 8.
That's so
And my head's like,
cute
no,
though.
no, don't remind. I'm gonna cry thinking how
Who
old
are
he is.
Oh my god.
Because in August I'll be 19. There's 11-year difference. So when I look at him, I'm like,
Hmm.
I remember he was like I held him like this, and he once peed on me, and it's like, now look at you. You still can't aim properly because he always pees on the toilet seat, but still, it's cute.
Hey, I don't blame him. Okay, I wasn't able to aim until I was maybe 12, so I'm bad. Yeah, yeah. A lot of judgment I'm sensing. Yeah.
No,
I'm
no,
kidding.
only a bit.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
Well, am
I
I going to talk about
really,
this later with you? Yes, but I'm
I,
not judging you.
I think we should really teach kids at a young age to lift the seat up. Just a thing. Just
I
maybe.
normally just sat down because it's more hygienic. But good for you.
Oh, I like
Good
that
for
too.
you.
Yeah, you know what? That's very interesting because in the Philippines, that kind of thing, it's they I love how we're gonna talk about this right now. Where this is even the topic, but you're gonna lose your mind. In the Philippines, if you sit down to pee, they think of it as something feminine, like it's something bad, and they will
Oh
not let you
no.
forget it. It's actually, yeah, it's fucked.
No, my mom would beat me if she ever found out that we didn't sit down because it's actually an Islamic thing.
Mm.
So basically, if you don't sit down to pee, there's a chance
Mm.
of the like pee droplets to land on you and on your
Yeah.
clothes. And if that happens, you can't pray because you're impure.
Yeah. Oh my
So it's in
goodness.
Islam, it's a requirement for
You have
basically
to sit on
everyone.
toilet.
Yeah. And it's more
See, I
shameful
love
for you
that.
to admit that you like stand up and pee. It's like,
I love that
yeah.
perspective. You see, like, and oh my god. Anyways, we're not gonna talk about that. Whoo, we're gonna read it back in.
Also, no,
Anywho,
before we go away, it's more comfortable because there's many times where I've been like, well, I just need to pee. Then it's a poop. So that has saved me many times.
I like that. Yeah, where you just kind of like fart and you're just kind of like, oh shit, never mind. It's not just a
Yes.
fart.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm dead. I can't believe we're talking about this. But okay, let me.
And going back to it, so
Going back to it,
youngest
yes,
brother is
go.
8. So,
Mhm.
and when you like ask most people about their siblings, like how they feel about them, especially
Mhm.
with my friends at the very least, they're like hate them. They're so fucking
Right.
annoying. I don't like them. Then I'm just
Yeah.
there like, really? I get on with my brothers really, really well, and I just don't mean like one of them. I get on with all of them incredibly well. And how well do I get on with them? My 15-year-old brother, he helps me sneak out at night sometimes.
I love it.
Like, and this boy, I love him so much. At 6 in the morning, I'm here calling him because there's like an indoor lock for my house door.
Yeah.
So even if I have my keys, I can't let myself back into the house. So I'm just there like calling him until he wakes up like groggy, barely conscious, comes downstairs and opens the door for me. And it's like it just
Oh,
says he doesn't. Sometimes he barely doesn't say anything. He just opens the door and goes back upstairs. I'm like, this is good.
that
This
is
is
so
good. I like
sweet.
this. And it's as love my brothers. However, mm, they see me too much like a father figure, but I love and hate that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if your mom ever said this, but oh, what would you guys do without me? You guys can't do anything for yourselves.
Right. No.
And yeah, well, I'm not looking at that. My brothers and me normally didn't say anything. We'd say something kind of cheeky, but now they started to say, oh, in response to that question, they'd be like, oh, Baya will look after us. Baya just means brother in our family, and that's me. So
Oh.
when they start saying that, I'm just there like, on one hand, this is so fucked up because I'm 18.
Yeah.
Best believe if anything happens to my parents, you guys are going to an orphanage.
Right.
No, I would honestly, I would even though I am only 18, I'm not letting my brothers go. It's like, I raised them. You're not taking them away from me. I did the hard work here.
Exactly.
But when they said that, it also made me feel like, I don't know, it made me feel special. It's like, it normally, with your siblings appreciating you and seeing how much you do for them, it takes
Mhm.
them years. And I mean like in their 20s, 30s, sometimes even 40s and 50s, for siblings to truly understand how much an older sibling does for them. And the
Right.
fact that they're here at the ages of 15 and 13, absolutely able to acknowledge that I do stuff for them, it's just so cute. I've got good
I
boys.
think I think it's amazing though because even for me like you know, like my sister and I were not very close, but like we love each other. Like there's no bad blood between my sister and I. Like I love her, and like I wish we were closer. It's just that she lives so far away from me, so it's kind of hard to build that bond with her, and we never really grew up together. And one of the biggest things is that I don't think she realizes the sacrifices I was forced to make to raise her. And that's one of those things where I feel like with other people's relationships with their siblings, I always wonder, is this one of kind of the barriers or the wedge that is being driven between the relationships? Because, you know, like it's like for me, an example, at such a young age, I couldn't go and film a short film because my mom and my stepdad had some weird honeymoon shit planned that weekend. And I told them already, I'm like, I can't do that because I have to go film this. And they were like, well, no one's going to take care of your sister. So I had to go take care of my sister. And, you know, and it's like that film went to Cannes and the cast went to Cannes. And it was one of those things where I was like, excuse me, what the fuck? Right? And it was one of those things where I could have sat there and like, who am I going to blame? My parents, my sister, myself? And, you know, thankfully, like, I'm mindful enough to understand that this is how life goes sometimes. You know what? It's just not meant to be at that moment. It's not meant to be. It's fine. I will find it later on, right? But for a lot of people out there, and I want to know what you think about this, because maybe you've talked to other people who are older siblings about opportunities they've lost because they had to go and bring up their brothers and sisters. They had to go and take care of them. It's how does that make them feel? And have you been in a position where you had to give up certain things just so you could take care of your siblings?
I mean, honestly, I don't really hold stuff like that against my siblings because they're minors.
I love
15,
that.
13, and 8, especially the 8-year-old. And I don't hold against, weirdly enough, I don't hold anything against my mum at all. My dad, different story, but bear in mind, quick history about my mum and dad. Both still married, both live in the same house. My mum has done all the heavy lifting since I was
Okay.
born onwards. She has basically done anything. She's a one-woman show. She
Right.
cooks and cleans, and like she has raised 4 boys amazingly well.
Right.
Like we basically co-parent my brothers, but I don't blame her because when my youngest brother was born, I was only 10.
Right.
And there were times where she needed to go shopping for the house, but she couldn't bring my baby brother with her because she needed to use like the pram to bring the groceries because there's 6 of us in the house. That's a lot of food. And she
Yeah.
doesn't drive. She didn't want to use public transport, and she just had to. She had no choice but to leave me. And I did for a bit resent her. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't like doing this because as a baby, he was fine. Like, honestly, as a baby, he was okay. He didn't cry that much. But when he grew up and he was like that, like, couple of months slash like 1 or 2, that
Yeah.
he was very much attached to my mom heavily. And when I say heavily, I mean when she would leave the house and he was there, he would be pressed up against the window crying, and I
Oh
would
my
have to pry
goodness.
him off. And it was so hard because it would take me. It was such mental energy. I just started high school basically as well. So it was a lot of pressure at one time, and I was going through it.
Right.
But and I didn't like it. I was really mad. I love my baby brother because he's so adorable. But at the time, I was like, "Ugh, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this." But now that I'm like, it was honestly like a couple of years ago, I was like, she didn't even have a choice, now did she? And I realized that my mom holds a lot of guilt about the fact that she feels like an inadequate mother at times. And I didn't realize this. I always thought my mom expected me to, like, when I talked about it with you guys, I always said, yeah, my mom expected me of all this and, to raise my siblings. Then to a sense, like, she did kind of expect me to be an older sibling and set the example. But I don't think she ever wanted me to do as much as I ever did.
Right.
And I only knew that because I was in the toilet and I could hear her on the phone talk to one of my aunts or uncles or whoever. And she's like, and they were just and in conversation, I came up and she was like, yeah, Matt just started work, but I feel so bad. I wish I could give him more. Like, the poor child bought him his own laptop because I bought my own MacBook. I didn't want to ask my mom because I always feel bad asking for money.
Yeah.
So I bought it with my own money that I saved up. And she's talking about, look, he didn't even ask me or tell me the price. Like, he doesn't feel okay with telling me stuff like this. Like, how can I fail as a mother? And when I
Yeah.
heard this, I was just trying to cry in the toilet
No, for
because
sure.
because it's not on her.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of all the sacrifices she made. And as much as I do complain about some of the things that my mom has done to me and like
Mm-hmm.
some of the trauma she has given me, I will never say that she's a bad mother because she has done the best with the limited resources
No,
she
for
had
sure.
available to her. Like we did not grow up rich at all. We grew up actually quite poor, but I never knew this because of the amount of sacrifices my mom. My mom, there might never buys herself clothes, or like expensive things or nice things. She would like sometimes make her own. She would buy cloth and make her own clothes,
I
so there'd
love
be enough money
that.
for us. Like, and I don't hold anything against her. So
Yeah.
when it comes to my siblings as well, they don't have the choice in that. They
Yeah.
don't have a choice of the fact that I had to take on roles and look after
Mm-hmm.
them and like do ties for them. And my baby brother, he was like I said, a baby.
Yeah.
What? Well, do you think he was there at 8 months old? Like, I will make your life a hell. You will
Yeah.
suffer, you disgusting child. No, he was just there like thinking, what the fuck's going on as well.
Right.
And I never felt bad because honestly, I'm glad it kind of happened
Yeah.
because like though how close I'm with my baby brother now, I love like there were times when I would come back from school, as hard as I was raising it, there was times I'd come back from school, I'd open the door, and this is when he was still young, like around 4 or 5. He would hear the door open and like he knew what time I came back, so he'd run up and just say hi bye, and then sometimes hug me or just like run away afterwards. He doesn't do that anymore, but I'll be honest, I do miss. But it was
Oh
so
no.
cute. He was
They're
so
growing up, man.
adorable.
They're growing
Yes.
up.
No, but even though he's growing up, he will still let me hug him. And sometimes I'm like, Umma, which means Umma means like kiss. And I'll just turn my
Yeah.
cheek and he'll just give me a kiss.
Oh.
8 years old. He would like come to my rooms like when I try to sleep at night. And he would cry when I let him in, when I wouldn't let him in. Because I wanted to go to bed in peace. And he would have his tablet all the way up. So,
Oh
and I
my.
tried, and you know how much I love my sleep. So
Yeah.
and he would be crying and it would hurt. And I had to like stay strong because like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. And I caved in quite a few times, I'll be honest, because I couldn't. But yeah, I just don't hold it. Like I know some people do hold some resentment, which I can understand. I don't
Yeah.
judge you for holding resentment because God, I would. Like I did hold resentment. It just like you always say, I matured quite quickly, and I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, no, the good boys, they don't have a choice in this.
I like
What am I
that.
supposed to do?
It's, it's very interesting because talking to you about these things, um, you and I clearly have taken a different path. And I wish I could be a lot more like you in terms of how I am with my sister. And I realized it wasn't so much resentment towards my mom or my sister at this point. Like, I love them both. I've spoken about how I also, like, much recently just kind of been able to put myself in her shoes. Like at this point in her life, she had a 13-year-old and a 4-year-old in Canada on her own, having 3 jobs, raising the two of us, And I can only imagine myself right now if I had 2 kids on my own, trying to, raise them, right? And
Yeah.
that opens up a lot of opportunities for traumatic experiences and cognitive distortions to just come in and try to wear you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it did get I did get affected by it. Unfortunately, she did take it out on me. And much like when you say, the traumas your mom had caused for you, which you're thankfully able to let go of and forgive, it's still something that I find that I'm still kind of struggling with
Mm-hmm.
because let me say something like that happened recently. I found out recently that when my sister came out to my mom, my mom essentially blamed me because I
Mm-hmm.
was very, like open about these things. And that really hurt because it was almost like a slap in the face. She knew I was the one who took care of my sister.
Yeah.
So she felt like my sister was following in my footsteps for being, open sexually. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how dare you say such a
Mm-hmm.
thing when I raised your daughter?
Yeah.
So that to me
Uh,
is kind of like where I
yeah.
was coming from with this. And I love hearing that there are families like yours in which, like, I just love it, Madz. Like, I just love your relationship with your parents, with your mom and your siblings. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's the most beautiful thing ever.
I mean, I think I reached a point where I realized my mom's not my enemy and she's not a malicious
Yeah.
person. Yeah, don't get
Mm-hmm.
me wrong, she winds me up. And after I graduate from university, I am going to leave, definitely,
Okay. Yeah.
because as much as I love being at home and living around my sibling, I do need my own space because
Yes.
my mom has the problem of like, and there's quite a few people in my family. This goes from my uncles and aunts and older cousins, like like expecting me to act like an adult while treating me as a child, and that has been the story of my life for
Yes.
so long, and
Oh
it's
no.
very tiring. It's very tiring,
Yeah.
but my mom's never malicious. Like everything she does very like. My mom struggles to say "I love you" to me and to my other siblings. To my baby brother, she has no problem, which is
Okay.
I find a bit weird. But I, even though she doesn't say it, I know she does.
Yes.
Uh, by from the things she does. So she'll like literally yesterday she fed me with her own hand rice because I said,
Oh.
"Oh, I'm hungry," and she's like, "Oh, do you want your rice?" I was like, "Yeah," and I thought she was like just like put it on the plate and give it to me because she
Yeah.
doesn't even let me like serve myself. That's the thing. Like she showed me how to do it, and I'll do it. If she told me, "Oh, go get it yourself," I'd be like, "Okay,"
Right.
but she'll just do it for me. And then she bought the plate and she would feed me, and she does it regularly. And it's very funny because I'm the older sibling, and the only two people that she really technically feeds with her own hand is me and my younger sibling.
That's so cute.
But when it comes to my two middle brothers,
They're like, no.
she like tells them like you can do it yourself. Bear in mind,
I'm
my first brother
dead.
broke his arm recently,
Oh my god, I
and
remember
I'm the one
this.
getting fed, and I don't care. Me and my mom have this like unique relationship. It's like we both are very like I'm very much my mother's son. Like we have
Yeah.
very similar personalities, but our views on things are kind of different. But we
Right.
always manage to like we're happy. We accept things, and God, I love it. Like I used to only think of my mom in a negative light, and I'd be able to remember the bad things she did to me. But
Right.
now, whenever I think of my mom, I can only think of the good times we had. Like the times are like mostly minimized, and yeah, she can be a bit too much, but so can I. That's where I get it from.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
think
when I hear
it's
her voice, I'm like, shut the fuck up, bitch. And I'm like, I love you.
I think that's how we feel about our parents collectively, you know? Like I'm not gonna lie, right? Like even
Just
though
a
it's
bit
like
too much.
yeah. And for me, I wanna ask, do you feel like the way that you raised your brothers,
Mm.
did you get some of that kind of nurturing aspect of it from your mom, from how she raised you? Or
Oh
was
my
it
god,
completely
absolutely.
something? Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Like, as much as like, I definitely did something opposite to my mom did, but
Yeah,
when it comes to the loving and nurturing side, that was my mom.
that's
Like,
amazing.
like my mom was as I will never say that my mom was never there. Like sure she wasn't always there emotionally, but
Right.
God, she was there physically every single day,
Hmm.
365 days of the year, 24/7 whenever I needed her to be. When I was
Yeah.
sick, but who was there in my room looking after me? My mum. She was the one rubbing a vapor rub on my chest. Whenever I was like feeling upset, she was there for me. Whenever I had a bad day of exam, I would just like go cry and lie my head on her lap, and she wouldn't like tell me to go away. My mum was
Oh.
always there. Like she never made me feel bad. Like if I, um, when my grandma died, like my dad's mom, I was very upset about it, and I was crying, and my mum was there holding me and telling me, "You shouldn't cry. She's in a better place. Don't worry. If stuff like this, it happens eventually, and you're going to be fine." Like my mom, always there, and especially with my baby brother, I pass that on because I had the most experience. Like with my first two brothers, especially my first one, because we're so similar in age. It's only like when he started to become more of a teenager, and I was more of a teenager when I started to look after him more.
Yeah.
But with my baby brother, it was from 11. That's when I did most of the things from like changing his nappies, getting his milk ready. The loving side I got from her, like I basically have baby hands, or it's what I've been told, because
Right.
babies will come to me and I'll just hold them and I'll be able to like make them go to bed, and it's like yeah, it's easy. It's like I have no problem with it at all. But I will say that it's also because of my mum I realized how to be a better parent,
I
because
love
the
that.
way she does things, and it makes me upset to say this, but out of me, my dad, and my mum, my siblings respect me more, which is
Okay.
a very upsetting thing to say. I would rather them respect my parents more, especially my mum.
Right.
But I understand why they don't and why they speak to me differently to the way they speak to my mum.
Yes.
So my brothers, bear in mind, teenagers and an 8-year-old speak to me with the most respect possible. They don't even call me by my name. They call me Baya, which means brother. In normal conversation, even in text, they call me Baya.
Just like that.
Like no disrespect at all. They don't backchat to me. They don't swear at me. They don't raise their voice at me. if I tell them no, you can't do this, they don't argue back with me.
Right.
And it's because when I speak to them, I'm speaking to them like a person. I'm not sitting down to
Yeah.
them and telling them, no, I can't let you do this because you can do this tomorrow. I'm quite reasonable with them. I try to give them the freedom I never got as a child.
Right. I think
So,
that's like, you reason
yeah,
with them. Some parents, they
yeah,
just don't. It's just enforcing things.
yeah. So, if, for example, if they want to go out and they ask me, like, oh, can we go to the park? I have to think to myself, is there a good reason for me to not let them go?
Right.
And I think it's like, no, like they want to go to the park, and I tell them will you be back in 2 hours? They're like, yes, and I'm like, sure, okay, go. And do they come back exactly in 2 hours? No, they come back normally 2 hours, 30 minutes, 3 hours. Oh, okay, so they're 30 minutes an hour late. They still answered my calls when I call them after 2 hours. They said they were coming. They came home. They're safe. I'm not going to cause an argument over it.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
fine. Like,
Mads, give
the,
me 1 second. I would like you. Can you just let everybody know about your socials and where they can find you? I completely forgot that I was making meatloaf. And guess what? It's been an hour in the oven and I don't want to die. So, this is very real. I guess this is what happens when you do podcasts and you don't have to edit this shit. But anyways, Mads, let them know where they can find you. Let me run and turn this off.
so Hi everyone. Well, whilst he's going to get his meatloaf, which sounds like a euphemism for something, you can find me on Twitter at Madz1903. Yes, MADZ1903. You can also find me on Instagram under the same handle as well, Madz1903. And yeah, I don't do much else. If you want to see more of my cute face, come to my streams. I just talk bullshit. If you want to hear more about my mom issues, come there as well. But God, Steven owes me child alimony. Don't let him hear this, but that man owes me a considerable amount of.
Hold on.
Hmm? Hmm?
I'm dead.
I'm just plugging my socials. What do you mean?
Well, guys, you heard it here first. You better share this episode with Mads in it so that, if we ever monetize this, he can get the profits from this episode, alright? Come on now. Mads is so hardworking.
You can find the donation link on his Twitch.
Or you can find it on yours, right? You
Or on
plugged your
mine.
site, right? Yeah, there you go.
Oh God, of course I did.
Alright, getting back into it. Alright, so again, without making a fuss for your brothers coming home and they're safe, right?
Yeah, it's like we were talking about how my mom's nurturing side and has that affected me. Yes, so when my mom speaks to them,
Yeah.
she very much speaks to them from a place of authority, and as you know, I'm the parent, you're the child, so you're going to listen to me, and I know best, and you're not going to argue with it.
Right.
And I don't think she gets mad at them when they talk back and shout at her, and then she'll talk to me about like, I can't believe your brothers like talk to me so rudely, and I'll sit there like for a moment like sure, but
Yeah.
but to me it's like, yeah. Imagine, Stephen, if we were speaking and I started like just shouting and yelling at you and calling you all these names. Would you not do the exact same back to me? You wouldn't actually. That is a bad example. You would just take it.
I wouldn't yell back, definitely. But
You
I would
wouldn't yell
tell,
back.
I would never do.
That
I would just be like, look, can we like calm down?
exactly. I was about to say two normal people, but that's the two average people when they would speak,
Yes.
and like if one of them raised their voice and they would
Becomes a
raise
shouting
their voice back.
match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in my head, like if I just like start shouting at them, of course they
Yeah.
want to shout back at me. But if I speak to them normally, like, hey, can you do this? They're like, yeah, sure. They're not unreasonable people. Like if you, shockingly enough, people don't realize this, but children, and I need to just like be like well suited for this.
Right.
Children are people.
Oh my god. But
I know. I know.
plot twist. What?
My 8-year-old brother,
Oh,
not a dog. He's technically a person in the eyes of the law.
oh my god. Oh my
I mean, he
god.
does
I cannot
bark,
believe
but like
it.
that's a different problem I need to sort out later. But
I mean, I bark, so.
maybe
Woo!
that's where
Alright.
he heard it from. Maybe he's heard your streams. They're like, oh, this grown man is barking. Maybe I'm supposed to bark.
Oh no, not this. No, but you know what? I just kind of want to add to that because that is actually such an important point to make. And for a lot of us, I see this so many times, and I can't comment on it because it's their family. So I can't be like, that's not my business. But you being able to say this is actually testament to what I'm thinking, in the sense that as the eldest siblings, if the parents are people that our younger siblings cannot run to, the next person in line for authority is us. So why the fuck are we going to act exactly like our parents, right?
Yep.
We have to be that kind of like lighthouse for them, that tent pole
Yeah.
of, okay, hey, everything's going to be okay. We have to make sure they feel supported around us. And you know, and that's the one thing I always tried to do with my sister, because like we may not be able to live together or like, you know, be that close, but anytime she needed something, she would always just message me, because she
Yeah.
knows that I will end up kind of like what you do, talking to my mom, knocking some sense into my mom, you know, allowing her to realize that, hey, you're talking to your daughter right now, not somebody else, you know? Like, it's not about you enforcing your authority, it's about you understanding where your daughter lies in this whole thing and how they feel and how you can kind of see eye to eye. Because for a lot of the
Yep.
times, right, our parents, like you've mentioned it multiple times, they have their own traumas that they're dealing with, right? And I do kind of want to touch up on that, because I feel like that's very important. When I asked Madz what he wanted to talk about, and he brought this up, and I thought it was actually really perfect, because I haven't heard this from this perspective yet. But you said something about parents being people too,
Yep.
and I kind of want you to elaborate on that and how you kind of came into that conclusion of like, hold on, wait a minute.
So, growing up, we always had this perfect idea what parents are, because, you know, we'd have like shows like on Disney and like on like the television and online, but like oh, look at this cute family. The mom is so caring. She's like so perfect. She's always sweet. She never
Yeah.
gets mad. But and honestly, it's a really bad portrayal. Very sexist. The more you think about her, how like the
Yeah.
mother is always happy and she's always there for her kids and she's never
Yes.
having a bad day, and she's a super mom. Like she's always awake before everyone else and she's always making them breakfast and it's all ready and she's never out of place, and she's also able to do it while holding down a full-time job and looking amazing 24/7. And the more you think of it, it's like, what the fuck? I wouldn't be
Yeah.
happy if I was waking up
Yeah.
at 6 in the morning every single day making food for some little shits and then going to work. Fuck off.
I fucking can't.
And then there's Mary Sue over there doing all of that while saving the world. Like, good for you, bitch.
That fucking Mary Sue. I'm so done.
But our parents, like especially our moms, aren't like that. They've got their own shit and their own problems going through. And most of the time, well, quite a few of them have their own traumas that they've never fully acknowledged. So, with my mom, not to give too much about her, but when she was 15, her mother died. And she is the third eldest out of 8 kids. And my granddad at the time was in the United Kingdom working to give money back to the family. So it's basically the 3 oldest siblings and their younger children, and the 3 of them, the 3 older sisters, they basically became surrogate mothers. So my mum was doing all the cooking from 15 all the way to the time she came here to the UK at the age of 18
Oh my goodness.
by herself. Like she was cooking meals for all of them, plus my granddad's other wife. I say other wife, it's common thing. It's not even like
Right.
a bad thing. Like everyone loves her. Like my grandma, who's alive now, didn't realize until a couple of days. You know, since we're talking about families, I quickly bring it up. It's because of my grandma I realized that family is not blood. This
Right.
woman, only 3 of her grandkids are of her blood. Only 3. The rest out, like the other 20 plus, none of them are related to her by blood. You would not know from the way she treats us all.
I
And
love that.
And to this day, she doesn't know that all of us like know that she's technically not our real grandma, and we never are gonna bring it up because I don't feel the need to. Like,
Yeah,
sure,
no.
there are times where I do miss my mom's mum. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like there's a part of me that never got to know that woman, and I really
Yes.
want to know her. But I will never say that I never knew what I felt like to have a grandma, because I did. I had an
Yes.
amazing grandma who was always there. She got me through so much. Like, you know the comments you get from your aunties where they be like, "Oh, you gained a bit of weight. You're getting too fat. You're getting too skinny." my grandma would shut that down. She once overheard my auntie say that. She's like, "Oh, shut up, leave him alone. My grandson's perfect the way he is." And then she just like would like hold my face in her hand, say, "Don't listen to them. You're okay. My
Oh.
Mahdi is always perfect." And like she's always there, like looking after me. And like she once made me rice, and she gave me some curry, chicken curry, but the curry was cold, and so was the rice. I still ate it all because it's my grandma.
Yeah.
My
How
grandma could
can you
literally give me
say something about
like
that?
my
Like,
grandma could serve me like pine cones and like a fucking like rock, and I would eat it. I would like, this is some good shit. Love it.
I
But
think that's called love, you know?
yeah, so my grandma, she's amazing. I won't go too much on a tangent. I will go back to speaking about my mom, but my mom has a lot of trauma from that side. Like being
Right.
from 15 onwards, she was basically another mom. So when I when I learned that, it made so much sense to me why she would never let me cook, or why she only recently has let me like cook a bit, like for my brothers and for myself.
Right.
It's because it's the way she shows her love, like, and it made me feel even more special when like she feeds me, because it's like her highest way of saying I love you still. I want you to know that I'm still here for you.
Yeah.
And she struggles to say I love you because I don't know, especially my oldest aunt. Like, I love her so much. She is the most brute. You think I'm like straightforward? This woman, God, God, I wish I could be as half as straightforward as she is, because she is known to like break people down by words. Like my cousin,
I'm
when she got married,
terrified.
and she told my cousin, "Oh, I'm glad you're getting married, but why did you have to pick an ugly one?" And I was just there like, "I'm glad someone said it. I'm glad someone said it."
Not this, Madz.
He's a very nice man. I'll be honest. He's incredibly nice. But compared to my cousin, he's not
Oh.
much of a looker.
You know what? Sometimes it's not all about looks,
Okay.
right? But that is.
No, but that's a big part.
Oh no. But you know what? Hey,
No.
that is a big part for some people, and we're not gonna.
Yes.
We have to admit, some people do like that. You know, it's valid.
Exactly. But I used to like be like, why is she so like straightforward? Why is she so like nonchalant and like she doesn't have a mask? She didn't have like a chance. You had to be like that strict. So did my mom, because
Yeah.
they became moms like really young. Like they're the ones
Yeah.
taking care of everyone. Like nobody talks bullshit to them. And I growing up, I always felt that like no one in my family had my back.
Right.
I always felt like it was me against everyone else. Like no one understood me, and that my aunts and uncles always put this pressure on me. And they did put pressure on me, but I didn't realize how much they probably defended me until quite recently.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, what happened recently was, an aunt from Bangladesh had come over, and as usual, when guests we have guests over, I'm on my feet 24/7. I don't sit down when guests come over. My mom's telling me
Of
to do
course.
this and do that, and
Right.
instinctively at this point, it's just like reflexes that I know. Yes, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't really argue. I just do it. And then my mom, she basically like shouts orders at me, but I know she doesn't mean in a mean way.
Right.
I know she just like it's just her way. Say just do this, do that, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Things gotta get done. That's it.
Yeah. And then my aunt from Bangladesh, she hasn't seen me in ages, and she sees this, and my mom said something. She's like, "Speak to him nicely. Why are you speaking to him like that? He's gonna get upset." And I was shook. I was like,
Yeah.
"¿Cómo estás? Huh? Are you good? Wait, what
I'm
is this?
done.
You guys defend me? Like, it was weird. It was I wasn't used to it. Like, and like therefore a good like 5 to 10 minutes, and my mom, she was having a conversation with my mom. Like, yeah, I know like my mom was like, oh no, he understands. Like, I'm just like this is the way I speak. Like, I'm his mom. He understands. But she was like, even if you're his mom, you can speak to her like a bit nicer. Like,
Yeah.
this poor boy's been on his feet for so long, and hearing that, like, it made me feel so happy. Like the way that people acknowledge what I do, and the more I think about it, the more I realize people do hear it. So
Mm-hmm.
my other aunt she lives in Oxford. She came down. She always comes down in the summer, and I was helping around, and she's like, "Oh, look at Mahdi always helping out. Oh, my nephew's always like there helping his mum. We need more sons like him." I'm like, my grandma says the exact same. Like, and a lot of my aunts, like, I did not realize, defend me behind my parents' back or in front of them.
Yeah.
So especially to my mom, which also makes me feel bad because I feel like it puts added pressure on my mom to feel like she has to do well, because
Yeah.
her sisters can be like quite hard on her, but in
Yeah.
the nicest way possible. So, when was it? I think when I started working and I was working really hard on saving my money. My I work at my university, and when my mum told the aunties group chat on WhatsApp, which ethnic household, there's always an aunties group chat on
Yes.
WhatsApp. Always
Yes.
is. Love it though, because like that's where I get all the tea from.
I love it.
But when she found out the way the aunties lost their shit in the best way possible, they were like 18 years old, job at
And he has a
university,
job. Yeah.
good pay, studying a business major. Yeah, my oldest aunt was like ranting about it to her daughter. Bear in mind, her daughter is older than me and just graduated from university, and
Oh
it's like,
no.
and luckily she didn't hold any
No.
like bad will because we know that's
No,
what
for
aunts do.
sure. Yeah.
Like my mom did the exact same thing with when her older sibling like became a teacher. Was telling me about it, and it's like I'm I'm still doing my exams. I'm not even in university yet. I don't.
Yeah.
So like we just like joked and laughed about it, like which I love. Like me and my cousins, I call my cousins my sisters, and people get confused about that because we all grew up basically together. But
Right.
yeah, like my aunts, it's like so weird. Like I never considered that. As much as my aunts and uncles' comments got me, especially my aunts, it's mostly my aunts. My uncles were amazing actually. Weirdly enough, my uncles have always been there for me in the weirdest way possible. So like a lot of the time I've seen people like not have the closest relationship with their uncles. It's more likely they
Yeah.
get on better with their aunts. I feel like I get on with both my uncles and aunts very well, but especially with my uncles, I never had an argument with any of them. They've always been
Mm-hmm.
like surrogate fathers to me. Like they would always joke around and hug me and like tickle my stomach. And this was all the way up to I was like 12, 13, and then afterwards like more like he's a young man now. It's not appropriate, but they still would like hug me and laugh with me
No,
and
for sure.
yeah. And it was amazing, how like for example, there was a time when we got these e-vouchers during COVID to use, and I would try to show my mum how to do them, but then she'd be like, "Oh," and she does this all the time, but she would be like, "Oh, I'll get your older cousins to do this instead," and it really annoys me when she does that because I don't think she understands how much it undermines me as a person. Where she'll
Yeah.
ask me to do things, and then I'll show her how to do them. She'll still ask my cousins or to tell her the exact same thing, and then whenever they say it,
Then it's
automatically
like
she's
it's a
like, "Okay,
go.
then it's right."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I told my aunts about this, and they turned to my mom and they were like, "That's not good. That's not good." Enter my mom's name here. You can't do that. He's just a boy. He's gonna be upset by this, and he works so hard. And it's like my aunts are like always support me. They're always there, and I love that. I never felt recent. That's why I feel like I'm on really good terms with my family. Everyone's always there for me.
I think I was, I wanted to kind of interject here and really just commend you on your family because your family sounds like they're very level-headed and they're
Mm,
just very supportive of each other, and it just sounds like there's
absolutely.
so much love all around. And
Yeah.
I think even with the like with the pressures or the
Mm,
expectations that has been set upon you, I think having them as a support system to fulfill these expectations truly did help, and it really
mm,
propelled you into being the kind of older sibling that you are, not even just a sibling, like
mm,
as a person, the person that you are. um and I feel like for a lot of people for a lot of you who are listening right now, I don't want you to feel sad that you may not have the best kind of like support out there. It's not about that,
I want to
right?
interject here as well because even
Mm-hmm.
though my family is an amazing social net, bear in mind I'm only saying the good parts. There are a
No,
lot of
for
bad parts.
sure.
I'm not going to talk about because it's their private business. If it was
Exactly.
my business, I would 100% say it. But there are parts of my family that I can't share. We're not a perfect family. That we have a lot of problems. Just because people don't talk about their family problems, don't think they have any.
And
Steven knows about my family
that is
problems because I talk
exactly
about it
what
all
I
the time.
wanted to get on. It's the fact that
Hmm.
the way that you present them in such a positive light that nobody needs to know what the fuck goes on behind closed doors. That doesn't concern them, right?
Exactly.
And for a lot of the people, this is why I'm making this announcement, because we tend to wear our hearts on our sleeve, and that's okay at
Hmm.
times, right? But what happens sometimes is we personalize a lot of things. And when we personalize a lot of things, what happens is we end up focusing on things that aren't really necessarily going to impact our future or our decision making, right? All it's going to impact is how we feel and our emotions and how we're going to respond to how an event unfolds. And when that happens, it prevents us from becoming, the kind of people we were meant to be. And
Yeah.
this is why I'm so glad Madz is here, because it's the perfect example to show that kind of compassion, that kind of love to your family members, to your younger siblings, all the while knowing that there is turmoil that's going on there. To be able to separate that. So for me, I guess my next question would be, how did you get to a point in which you were able to recognize that in order for you to nurture your siblings the way that they are nurtured now, that you had to kind of set aside all of the traumatic experiences you had from your whoever else it is in the members of your family? At which point did you realize, I had to do this, and how did you do that?
I would say it came at my lowest point in life. So that was after when I was just about to turn 16, still 15 years old. That was when I was raped. And that was like the worst I ever felt. Because at the same time, a month later, just started college. In the UK, college is like the last 2 years of high school for you guys. But it's still like a new place that I went to. And I'm just like there dealing with this trauma. Told no one about it for a while. Had to make new friends. And I had never felt so upset and so lonely and so sad in my life. And that one event, as bad as it was the catalyst for a lot of change. Because before then, I've told you this, I was a really mean person. I was horrible. I was a bully. I enjoyed making people, like, people would cry and I would laugh. Like, at times, I'll be honest, sometimes when people do cry, I do still laugh. It's a bad thing. But I find like crying funny sometimes. I shouldn't, but yeah, it was a really hard time, and it kind of like made me realize, okay, I need to change. I need to like grow up a bit, like try and move past who I was, like leave the old person in me in the past and like try to move on. And it was kind of a way from me moving away from that incident by like saying, okay, so that old version of you is dead. We need to move on, and like I've kind of reinvented myself. And at the exact same time, my aunt, who, like I told you this, but on my dad's side of the family, people don't live that long, which is very horrible. Like there's a lot of genetic health reasons that make us that we are more perceptive to. That's because of colonization, which is another topic I'll talk about another time. But but because of that, she died when she was 37, and that hit me hard because her youngest kid was at the time younger than my baby brother. She was only 4 years old, and she would all cry like, when's mum coming back? When's mum coming back? And God, it hurt. Like I remember seeing her like a couple of months ago, she was fine, she was alive. Then her cancer got worse and worse, and then she basically was a living corpse in her bed, and she just died. It was a horrible thing to happen, and it's like it doesn't leave the mental image doesn't leave your head of like seeing all that, and it just made me with how short life is, and I thought that could be me. Like hopefully, like knock on wood, I don't have to go through that, but at any second I could get anything, or I could like walk out of the house and be hit by a car. And do I really want to die on bad terms with my siblings and barely knowing them? And then made me sit down and realize more, shit, I'm growing up. I'm getting older. So we're all getting older. When I graduate from university, I don't just plan on leaving the house. I plan on leaving the country. So it'll be way harder for me to stay in contact with my brothers on a regular contact. And I don't want to, like, the way you're not exactly as close with your sister, I don't want that. Like, no disrespect to you at all.
No, for sure.
I want my brothers to know I'm always here for you. I don't care if there's borders and seas and continents separating for us. It's like, if they told me I really need you right now, best believe I'm getting on the first plane there. If I can't get on the plane, I'm crossing the border. I'm committing fraud. I'm getting back there one way or another.
I'm committing fraud.
I'm just there like, yes, who's Mahdi? I'm Juando.
Oh no, not Mario being brought out.
Mario.
No.
But yeah, it's basically traumatic events, and it's I love a couple I think it was a month ago now when I went through like a really bad experience with a guy I met up with, and you were like, to like take a positive spin on it. I'm glad you're going through all the negative and like such traumatic things very early on. because you gotten all the trauma out of the way. And I'm like, you know what? Yes. I don't like the way you worded it because it sounds like you're kind of glad I had the trauma, but yes,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
For the record, I'm not glad you had the trauma, okay? Never. But
You're
I'm
glad
glad
it
you
happened
understood.
early on and not like spaced out.
You know what? For lack of a better word, I'm just glad it didn't happen the way it happened to me. I think that's what it was.
Mm,
You know, because
yeah.
that really did a number on me. You know,
Mm.
imagine it happening when you're already set in life. You already know who you are, know what you're doing, and then here's a wrench, and then you're just
Yeah.
what?
I think life
But
took different
regardless,
portraits with us. Life was like waiting around the corner for you every second just to go and then like walk away like but with
right?
me life was just like okay,
Like
that's
bang,
enough.
bang, bang.
It's like, oh, you're gonna get this, and this is what you're gonna be an old sibling, and you're gonna have financial problems, and you're gonna enjoy it. I'm like, okay, okay.
I'm dead. I mean, but you know, in all seriousness, like regardless though, like
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people I see that goes through the things that we have gone through,
Mm-hmm.
most of them never recover, and it breaks my heart. And it's one of those things where I wish there was a way for us to kind of allow to tell them that your life is not over because this happened. You know, it just
Yeah.
changes a little.
Mm. It it's a hard thing to get over. Well, I
Yeah.
say get over. You don't truly get over it. You just learn to live with it and deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even now, sometimes I will have nightmares about some of the things that have happened to me, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'll wake up uncomfortable. But I'll be honest, those days are like more spaced out and like less frequent.
That's good.
I'm I'm a more happy person in general. I'm very happy. Like I have not had like a bad day like I did like in April. Like I had two
Yeah.
very horrible April, but as after April to now, I've had an amazing year.
It's like
Like
an up and up.
I'll be
I love
thriving.
that.
I'll be good.
I love
But it's
it.
because of all the trauma I've gone through. It's like I've been through worse things. Like if I have a bad day or like something won't be working, it's like, oh, just I'll do it again later. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through worse. I just get on with it. I'm all right with it. And it's because of the things I went through in my head. It's like I don't want my brothers to go through things. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did make me to the person that I was, but I can make my brothers into good people without them having to like
Yes. Oh my God.
cry in their pillows.
Exactly. Oh my God. It's like how, you know, I think this is where a lot of people miss opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Like with certain traumas that we get. Sorry, that was about to come out so wrong. And I was like, hold on, not what I meant. No, because I remember when I sat there when other things kind of like with my, you know, issues with my families or like with my friends happened. It's, yes, I'm glad it happened because I learned from it and I became a better person. But wasn't there a way that I could have just learned this without having to hurt anyone or myself?
I think a really good quote that one of my friends told me is that you're the person you are not because of your traumas, but despite them, which
Yeah, I
I very
love
much support.
that. I
It's
love
not
that.
my trauma didn't make me to a good person or a better person. It was me being able to overcome them and like go still go on with my life that made me a bad bitch with no ass, but still.
You don't need. Hey, look, you don't need the booty. Okay,
Yes, I do.
not.
Do you know how painful it is to sit down and feel your bony ass?
Oh, Madz, let me tell you something. So I have a really big, nice one. Okay, let me tell you. If you
All
have
right.
no, no,
All
no,
right.
no, no, no. Listen, I used to have a bony one. It doesn't go away. I would sit, and it would penetrate through and it would just it hurts. I sat on somebody's lap a few weeks ago, and it was like, and they were like, "Oh, that's sharp," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I've been doing squats like crazy, and it's sharp."
No, it hurts. It hurts when somebody says, "Oh, your ass is a bit bone." It's like, okay, I can say it, but you don't say it. You don't mention it. Like I remember saying on my friend's laps, and it was all right until they said, "Oh, Mads, I need you to get off. Like your ass is digging into my thigh," and I'm like,
You know,
so
I'm here to give you comfort. Getting an aesthetically nice looking ass does not absolve you of it. So don't worry. You don't really need a big one. It's still gonna be bony. Moving on. Anyway.
I miss drinking.
Poor man. I'm so sorry. Whew.
I'll be okay. I've been through
You'll be
worse.
fine. You. No. Too soon. We're, are we gonna get cancelled for a fourth time?
Oh God, please don't. We're still trying to get over the Maid of the Mist scandal, and you're not over the Taco Bell one.
Oh no! Oh boy! We're gonna move on. I'm sure everyone on the podcast is so confused right now. Sorry, these are insight. This is what you should not have really good friends of yours guests on your podcast. I think
Yes,
it's a general
because it's
rule.
hard for me not to have a normal conversation with you.
Yeah, it's like all inside jokes. Whew, but getting back into it, and you know what? I love where this conversation has taken us, though. Aside from the bony ass, I love
I was gonna say
the
like the bone.
trajectory. Yeah, I love the trajectory of it because I remember at first, all we really wanted to do was, what's it like being an older sibling? But it's unfolded into this whole kind of like scope on how relationships with your family members can actually really affect how you raise your younger siblings. I this is one of those what ifs, and for a lot of people they don't like living in the what ifs because, well, it doesn't matter, right? What's happening right now is what matters, right? But I kind of want to throw in a scenario because I know that there are other people who maybe were not as lucky as you and I in terms of having supportive family members, and if they are out there right now listening to this and they want to be the kind of older sibling or even a younger one, doesn't matter, the kind of sibling that they want to be, but in the environment they're growing up in, it's very toxic and it's just not healthy. What if you were to come across these individuals? Like, how would you kind of lend your support towards them? Like, what are some things you can kind of advise them on and tell them so that they can really understand that it's not all about what's going on around, it's what you can make of it.
I would say, first of all, not everything is as it seems. So when you look at other families and it's like, wow, they have an amazing family life, they look perfect. No, that's not always the case. Families always have problems. It's very rare that you'll meet a family with not like one hidden secret or a few skeletons in the closet or like family issues. It's just like, it's very rarely that you meet someone like me who has no problem at all being like, yeah, my family's fucked up. This is what happened. This is what happened. Stuff like
Right.
this. Like, because I don't feel ashamed. Why should I be
Right.
ashamed of any of this? It's like,
Thank you.
it's just how things are. And I don't. Sometimes I do say to rag on my family, but I don't. At the same time, it's like this is just what's happening. Like, this is what I know. This is what's happening. It's made me upset. And being in a toxic, because I honestly I'm still in a toxic environment, but not as much. I
Right.
feel like I've reached a point where me and my mum and my siblings I have all reached a good relationship. At least me and my relationship with them. I reached a point where when I come home, I don't get upset coming home like I used to. I come home
Yeah.
like, fuck, I'm finally home. I can go to bed. Like, I can like relax. I'm fine. Like, I don't worry about it. But at times there was like, I didn't want to go home. There were times I didn't want to go home, or I like being out with my friends. I still do. If I could, I'd be out way later with my friends. But speaking about my friends, you need really good friends, a really good social like network and like people to look
Right.
after you, because I would not be here without my friends. And I don't see my friends as friends. I hold them in the same esteem, or even, honestly, high esteem than my family members sometimes. Like, the person I am, the reason why I'm able to deal with all these things is because my mum doesn't hear about my problems. My friends do. It's me and my friends who are all crying with each other, like getting
Yeah.
through things. And we know when you know, 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks ago, ages ago in April, when I had those two really bad mental health weeks when like I was at my lowest because of like
Right.
things that happened, and on Snapchat and Instagram and all my socials are like, guys, I just need to be off for a bit. I just
Yeah,
don't
I
feel
remember
well.
that.
Yeah, I had and I thought people probably won't even like realize when I got back on my phone and I saw just the amount of messages and people who were like, "It's okay, take as long as you need," like,
Yeah.
and then it was mostly girls, and the guys didn't really reach as much out until a week afterwards. I was back online, and they were like, "Yeah, like we know how you are. We know you don't like being like harassed with people asking you how you are, so we wanted to give you some space," and that made me really cry because, as you know, me and guys, a lot of trauma, like
Yeah.
friendship wise, family wise, like relationship wise. It's like I have very much trauma. So the very few male friends I have, so nice, especially the male straight friends I have, the
Yeah.
nicest people you ever meet. You know, a lot of straight guys I know don't really like hugging. My straight guy friends, they always hug me and they don't care that I'm gay. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course, it's you. Like
As they
one of them said,
shouldn't, you know?
and it's always nice. Like I had so much support, and and this whole time that month in April, my mom didn't know. My family didn't know about all the things I went through. She didn't know about the issues I was having with such a situation. My friends did, and they all supported me, and they all gave me the time I needed, and everyone was there for me. I had people checking in on me all the time. Uh, you haven't had Ali on this podcast, but Ali, my rock. She is my platonic partner for life. The way this woman was checking up with me every single day, those 2 weeks, and afterwards making sure I was okay, seeing how I was, like, and I was like, there are still times where I think people don't really care about me. People don't really check up on me, and it's one of those things that I've come to accept that people are busy with their own lives and they probably don't 100% understand that I want them to reach out. But with
Right.
Ali, I didn't have to. Like she did it naturally. She still does naturally. She'll check up on me, making sure I'm okay. And like it feels so nice not having to be the one to reach out to people to ask for help, or like need people to ask me, or need to be the one to ask people first how they
Right.
are, then have them ask me. Just like all the people, all my friends in my life, they're amazing support network. So you need good friends in life. And
Yeah.
honestly, it sounds like it's easier said than done, especially for someone as extroverted as me. I make friends very easily. Like, give
Mhm.
me like 10 minutes to talk to you, and after those 10 minutes, if I enjoy talking to you, we're friends now. I don't
Yeah.
care if I don't see you again for 7 years. I'll see you on the street. I'll be like, I know you. I don't remember your name, but I know you. I just have amazing friends and just talk to people. God, it's very easy. Be honest. Don't hide your true feelings. Tell everyone you well,
I
don't tell
love
everyone your
that.
business. People put evil eye on you. But tell everyone your true feelings. If you're mad, tell them you're mad. If you're like, Steve hears all the time. If I'm upset, I'd be like, oh, this is what happened. I had to do my taxes. Fucking pissed off. Still doing my taxes. They still haven't paid me back. Ooh. But yeah, just be
It's
honest. Like
true.
no, like you would think that okay, don't be a downer all the times. However,
Hmm.
be honest that you're feeling upset and you're going through a rough time. No one's gonna judge you. Honestly, when you say it, probably somebody else will be like, "Oh God, same. It's been a horrible couple of days." And when you have that like net of people to protect you, and like you start talking to them about their family as well, you're like, it's not just you. It makes you realize everyone is going through things and you're not alone. And when you like come to the realization that I'm not the only one who's suffering with like bad family problems, it makes you like feel at ease. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so and so's doing it and they're doing just well, just fine. So I'll be fine as well. You just gotta see it through.
I love that. That was great. I really
Thank you.
like that advice. I think it is very important. You can't do this alone. You really can't. You know, as much as you want to be,
Mm.
kind of like I'm strong. I can do this. I can. It, it's so difficult because how are you
Mm.
going to give that kind of energy to your siblings if you don't have it? Where are you gonna get it from? You need to replenish. You need to
Again,
recharge.
it's something I learned from my mom because my mom very much is the opposite to that. She does a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the things by herself, and she doesn't
Mm.
like asking for help. And she seems like, oh, I should be able to do it for myself. And it hurts me saying this, but it's killing her slowly because
Yeah.
she's taken on the emotional and mental and physical burden of raising like a household and looking after a household, and she
Yeah.
would barely let us help at all, especially me. I'm the oldest and I do quite a few things, but bear in mind, my mom won't give me even like 10% of the things she would do, maybe 5% of the things I'm in charge of. The 5% includes like raising my siblings, but she also did help raise them. Like, I'll be honest, like, she helped amazingly. And, but because of that, I slowly, like, it makes me so upset just watching her slowly work herself to basically death. And like, like all my aunts and uncles and even my siblings, we all just want her to slow down and like to
Right.
take a break and rest. But in her eyes, like it's not just me and my siblings and also my dad relying on her. It's everyone in the family. Like whenever there's something needs to be done, she's one of the like most reliable people. That's why I'm very reliable because of my mom. Like
Yeah.
whenever you need someone, like it's always my mom that's there. Also, and me as well. Like whenever it's like something like recently, my cousin she's moving houses and she asked me today if I could help her like come over and help with me stuff. Like, oh, I'm busy today, but I'll help tomorrow. Like, me and my mom are the most reliable people in our family. When something needs to be done, our numbers are the first to be called. But my problem with my mom is she can't say no. So she'll always basically work herself to a point where she's exhausted. Like she suffers so much from insomnia and back pains and health issues. And it's like I love my mommy and I want her to like sit down, like stop, have a break, watch your
Yeah.
Indian dramas.
Oh, I know it's really tough, and I feel like this is the kind of mantle that, as her children, right? Especially the eldest one, the kind of mantle that you take on. And that's why it's really important to be this kind of figure to your siblings, because it doesn't end there, right? This sets the precedent of how you're going to treat your own family if you choose to have a family one day,
Absolutely.
And not even just your family, just how you treat other people as well right now. So I think it's great. My God, damn. I love this. I love how this turned out. Look at it. You gave amazing advice.
It seems like my brothers aren't following the same pattern as my mom, where they don't ask for help. Like, I'll be honest, it does annoy me when they are always messaging me asking for help, because sometimes you're like, fuck off,
Yeah.
But like recently, my brother has a mock test coming up, and like he was messaging me asking for help, and I was just sending him paragraph after paragraph and videos, and he was like, okay, thank you so much, and like he would ask me questions. Like he has none of them have any problem coming up to me asking for me, especially money. They have no problem asking me for the bastards. The way like I'll be like in bed, I'll look at a message like, can I have £30? I want new headphones, and honestly I just ignore it. I'm like,
You just go.
didn't see that, but yeah, I would rather them ask me and I just say no than them feeling that they can't speak to me about things.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that is very important. To be able to communicate things, right? To be able to feel okay and feel good communicating things, regardless of how trivial or how dire they are. Super important. Because that's the one thing for me that I wish I had, right? Growing up, I never had an older one. I never had an older sibling. I had to do it on my own, right? So it's like, these are things that I am trying to learn, because I do want a family in the future. And as much as I do know how to treat people now, it's still one of those things where I don't want my kids to fall into the same pitfalls that I had gotten into, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, shit. It is about time to go, but I just want to say thank you so much, because this has been an eye-opener, not just for me, but I feel like for a lot of people out there. This is exactly why I brought Madz here, because, even for me, like, I didn't really have much to contribute, not because I didn't want to, but it's because
I talk too much.
No. I fucking hate this. No,
I will never be
not
invited
like
back.
that.
I'm about to be blacklisted.
You know what? It's on the contrary. I did appreciate that you had a lot to say, because being able to kind of pick apart some of the things that you were able to share, it gave me insight in as to how and why my upbringing with my sister was so different from yours. And it truly was the fact that I did not have the kind of support system that you had. And and instead of me sitting here saying, oh, I wish I had that growing up, the way you were able to share it allows me to feel that very important. One of the things that you said today that will stick by me forever is when you talked about your grandma, and when you realized that, family's not always blood. Because we always say that, we always say, oh, you can have your chosen family, but it's never to the extent.
Grandma's the literal definition of that.
Right, exactly. And how she was able to bring all of these people together and have the same respect for each other and love for each other, regardless of who they are, I think is beautiful. And I'm just glad that you came from that.
Thank you.
And a lot of us really have learned something great from you today. So thank you very much.
I'm glad. This is fun.
It is. I cannot wait to have you back. Don't worry, we're going to talk about something else next time. We're going to talk about something really good, something that we can help educate people, because I feel like your voice is something that people would want to hear. Like, people would want to listen to. You have, everyone's opinion is amazing, right? Yeah, but the way that you're able to really get the point across, I feel like it's very important, and it is something that we need right now. So thank you so much for being here, Madz.
Thank you for inviting me on. Like, it only took us like how many times did I agree to this, and we only got to it eventually. Like,
but
it was like months ago. It was months ago. We were like, yeah, I'll definitely be on here.
It was.
Give me a second.
You know what? Well, it's perfect timing then. Guys, this has been Breaking Down Breakdown. This is Madz. Y'all need to follow him on Twitch. He dropped his socials midway through this, right? Can you drop it again right now? What is it?
So you can find me on Twitch, Madz1903. I try to stream twice a week, but I get tired very easily. You can also find me on Instagram, say Madz1903, and that's it, because I'm not giving you my Snapchat because I use Snapchat for my friends.
Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you again, guys. This has been Breaking Down Breakdown. I'm Steven Diego, and remember, be kind, be compassionate. Make sure you show love to everybody out there. Every single one of them needs it. Or that. It is Pride. It's Pride Month.
Be who you are for your pride.
That's it. Matt can't see me on camera, but I'm dancing with my fingers right now. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks again. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.